You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio on ESPN Radio 1700. Now, live in studio, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family, your business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guest and repeat offender. Brent Humpherys is in the house. Welcome, Brent. Good
morning. Thanks for being here.
Glad to have you with us. And we got some great stuff to chat with Brent about. He did a little bit of a case study. So we're going to call it Case Study Brent Take One. And we're going to share some of the results of that case study with you. It's a very, very fascinating study in this day and age, especially now, obviously, Brent is, I'm going to harass you just a little bit here,
All
Brent.
right. This is live, too.
It's live, too.
Here it comes.
Of course, I usually harass you a little bit.
I like it.
But you're actually going to probably show your age when we go through this case
I am.
study.
I'm prepared.
Right? Because in some instances, this case study, the young people don't even know there was life before the object that you got rid of.
That's true. Temporarily got rid of, yes.
Temporarily got rid of.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's just a little bit of a tease that we're going to get to. And let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are absolutely no operators standing by. I am it.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or plan to save you money, I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Of course, a beautiful day in Southern California must start with a celebration. National Baked Alaska Day. It is today. Might be a little early for a baked Alaska, but you gotta think about. You like baked Alaska, Brent?
I'm thinking of Googling it, except you've got me on live stream, so I don't want to give that away. What is baked Alaska?
It's an elaborate dessert also known as an omelet Norwegian. Baked Alaska is made with hard ice cream on a base of sponge cake covered in a shell of toasted meringue.
Sounds beautiful.
And in a lot of places that do baked Alaska, of course, again, I'll date myself, Brent, but a lot of the places that do baked Alaska, they actually serve it in the older times. They would serve it flaming baked Alaska. They would bring it out in a flambe, but apparently, right now in the environment that we're in, you don't get a lot of the flaming items or tableside cooking just because of the liability that the restaurants have if they go and do that kind of stuff. But it is a great, great dessert. It's usually very, very more of the formal restaurants. When you go get a great bottle of wine, they'll have the baked Alaska there at some of those great restaurants.
So if you want it flaming, maybe avoid the aerosol hairspray or something so your hair doesn't go up in flames.
Well, something I don't have to worry about that because I don't have much hair. I guess there is some benefits to lack of hair.
I think I'm trying to protect what I still have left.
Nice. We'll move right along and see what else we can find to talk about today. Other than I should go and just share and thank you all for supporting us so much this weekend. Chapman University, great event over there at Chapman University. Sir, big thanks to Fidel Lawande. He's the person that was in charge from Chapman. He's got their endowed chair of real estate and real estate finance. A great event. It's really nice to see so many of you there. If you didn't get registered, if you missed out on it, we'll see what's going on again. I'm sure there'll be other events. You missed a great one, though, and I was glad to see so many of you there. They had me teach the same sessions over and over again for 2 sessions, 2 topics, 2 times each, just because it was sold out each time. So if you didn't get your home buyer's guide, or if you were there and forgot to text us for it, text HBG to 79564, HBG to 79564. We will get you that home buyer's guide. I'm going to get a new one out in about a month, so if you want the current edition, you better hurry up. Speaking about in about a month and current editions, current information, gas prices, we're still looking fairly good, $1.79.5 nationally. In this state of confusion, we're still at $2.57.9. Got to throw that in there for our friend Brent, because he doesn't know what gas prices are driving that nice Tesla.
Oh, thank you.
You just drive right past all the gas stations while those of us are sitting in line getting gas at about 80 cents a gallon more than the rest of the country.
Yeah, that's true. I always thought, because I'm a little bit of a prankster, that it might be fun to pull up at a gas pump and stop and then see if people start freaking out, like, what's he doing?
Yeah, they might
slow
be
day.
They might be freaking out anyway. Oklahoma though, Brent, $1.48.9. They're leading the country. $1.48 for gas.
Unbelievable.
Oof.
They must be pumped.
They must be pumped.
Oh, that's bad.
Man, where is that guy? Yes, that's it. I better move right along, because otherwise we'll be in trouble here. What else do we have? There's so much of the markets. What's going on in the markets? Boy, that volatility. We had that great session that we did chat about over the weekend, how to retire on $18,000 a month, no IRA, no 401k with a mortgage. That was a great session, especially when we look and see what's going on in the markets right now. Boy, talk about yo-yo. Friday, the markets looked good. Now they're down 74 points today. Oil down $1.71. Interest rates up 0.04% on the U.S. 10-year Treasury. And we know the Bank of Japan, you have to pay them to hold your money. Negative interest rates. You're paying them at the Bank of Japan. Now, here's the numbers that I've shared with you before. I will share them again. I do believe over the next 6 months, we will see that U.S. 10-year Treasury down in the 120 to 140 range. Yeah, I know if you're a senior, ow! Yes, you are probably saying, ow, that is probably not what you wanted to hear. But that, I only give you the facts of what's going on. How about this one? I saw this article and I was really surprised here. But, in the state of confusion, I guess I shouldn't get surprised when I look at the news. I also watch some of the news programs. Do you have any idea where the majority of California's budget goes to, or what the biggest line item is on the California state budget? I was somewhat surprised by this one.
Could I guess?
You can guess.
Okay, it's not up. This is just Facebook. I'm going to guess jails.
Jails. That would be a good guess.
That was a very nice way of saying I didn't get it.
It's funny though, because in California in so many areas, we think that the solution to every problem we have is Benjamin Franklin, right? Well, if there's a problem in the jails, what do? Give them more money. Problem with roads, what do? Give them more money. The problem within climate change,
give more money.
Give more money. Good.
No gong on that one.
We're catching on. Well, California, could you believe it? Well, education, that's our number one. 42% of the governor's proposed budget, 42% is to go to education grades K through 12. By far the largest share of the state budget. However, in the Public Policy Institute of California poll released last week, only 15% of adults and 17% of likely voters were able to identify the largest piece of the state spending. The question is, why is it that we're not getting a better value for the money we're spending? Did you ever read the book, The Outliers? It's a very, very interesting book. And they talked about why is it that the rich, their kids are educated better than the rest of the population. And when they did the full study, the solution had nothing to do with class size, which we want to make a big deal out of class size in California. Nothing to do with class size in the study. You know what it had to do with? Days in class and hours in class. Which makes a lot of sense that if you're in school more days, California, here's another good question for you, Brent. I'm not going to put you on the spot unless you want to be.
It's just live. Here's a question, Brent, you didn't prepare for, but you're not on the spot.
I'm glad that you're in real estate, though, because you're the real estate expert. I don't ask you to be the schools expert.
Thank you.
Okay?
Okay.
Just a guess. How many days does California require students to be in class?
181.
Exactly.
Did I get it right?
It's actually, I think it's 180, but 180, 181.
We're home educators, so we know a little bit about that.
Half the year.
Okay.
Right? Is there any wonder that if somebody goes to school, say, 200 days a year, 250 days a year, they might get a better education than somebody that's in class for 180?
Agreed.
And 9 to 2, 9 to 3 in school? Just saying. A friend of mine grew up in Bolivia. He said, Ron, you guys are at a disadvantage educationally. When I was in Bolivia, he said that he went to school at 8 in the morning, got done at school at 5 in the afternoon. They did that 5 to 6 days a week. He said, do you think you can compete with that? I said, yeah, well, we're at Chapman. We're in the classes together. We're studying. I'm trying. You're doing better. Just a thought. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, yeah, we had some big storms this weekend. Do you have any repairs that need to be done? Maybe you don't want to pay for them for a year and a half. We'll talk about it. How do you find a house when there's no inventory? Brent's going to share that with you and the case study from Brent Humpherys.
Case study.
Case study. How's that? Harvard has a case study. We'll talk about that one as well. Remember, you can reach me anytime. Call the off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Stay tuned. We will be back in just a few.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Ron Siegel Radio Date Night Trivia, presented by Reunion Kitchen and Drink. Friday, Ron will pose a question based on-air conversations during the prior 7 programs. The person to post the answer according to the guest conversation will win a date night package, including a dinner gift card for Reunion Kitchen and Drink. You might even be able to say hi to Ron when you visit Reunion Kitchen and Drink.
It's not every day your home gets flooded, but when it happens, you've got the good people at Apris on your side. With over 25 years of construction and insurance experience, they can turn any disaster around, making your home good as new. For 24/7 support, call 844-GO-APRIS or find us on the web at www.apris.me. Day, night, rain, or shine, when it happens to you, you know what to do. Go Apris. Remember, call 844-GO-APRIS. That's 844-462-7747.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452.
Are you a veteran, police officer, firefighter, doctor, nurse, or teacher? If so, you qualify as one of Ron Siegel's VIP heroes, and we have rewards up to $5,000 or $10,000 when you buy, sell, or refinance a home with one of the Ron Siegel Radio partners. As one of the heroes, real estate agents will rebate part of their commission, lending partners will give a credit at closing, the title company has special published rates, and many other service providers have incentives too. All you need to do is call Ron Siegel Radio at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit VIPHeroProgram.com. Just think about what you will do with all the rebates and incentives from the partners of Ron Siegel Radio. Just call us at 800-306-1990 so we can show you our appreciation for your service.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio. Or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. If you want the true value of your home, you will not get it with one of those online services. You need to chat with one of the real estate professionals. They're in your neighborhood. They know if you're on the correct side of the golf course or the incorrect side. They know whether you've got a view or not a view. They also will talk to you about the avocado carpeting and see if you still have that. Yeah, that was from, what was that, the 70s, Brent?
That's not what we mean when we say go green.
Go exactly, not exactly what we're talking about.
But
yeah, I should have, Brent, I got to keep this ready for you today.
Hey, I'm at 0. I missed it on jail. I got it on the days of school. So
okay, there we go. So I guess we ought to talk about why owning a home makes sense financially. This is not according to Ron Siegel Radio and not according to our flagship ESPN friends, but it is according to this school on the East Coast. They've got a joint center of housing studies at Harvard University. Top 5 benefits of home ownership. Housing is typically one leveraged investment available. Leveraged investments. That's basically you can put 3% down and you get the appreciation of the whole 100%. These are all financial reasons. Harvard also has shared that finance is not the main reason people have for buying a house. Number 2, you're paying for housing whether you own or rent. You get to pay. Now we'll ask Brent this one also. See, if you're renting, you're paying somebody else's mortgage. If you really, really, really want to pay somebody else's mortgage, would you mind if they pay yours or mine?
I wouldn't mind at all.
Not at all. See that? Got consensus there as well. Number 3, owning is usually a forced form of savings. That's right, because you're going to put part of your principal toward that property. There are substantial tax benefits to owning, and I'm not a tax expert, but when you text ATP to 79564, we'll put those people in touch with you. And owning is a hedge against inflation. If inflation, which is under 2% right now, but if it goes crazy, your real estate will appreciate in most instances as well. We can't promise it, but we do know that CoreLogic is telling us that housing will appreciate in California at 10.8% this year, 5.2% nationally. I don't know if they're going to be correct. That's their numbers, not mine.
Isn't that the same ratio of gas prices in California versus the rest of the country?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Gas is a bit higher here, too.
Sorry, I just had to jump in.
Bottom line from our housing study at Harvard, we realize that home ownership makes sense for many Americans for an assortment of social and family reasons. It also makes sense financially. And if you're considering a purchase this year, contact a local professional. That would be texting PAIR, P-E-A-R, to 79564. We'll put you in touch with a professional who can help you evaluate your ability to own property now. And I'll share one comment that I made at the Southern California Home Ownership Fair this weekend. And this was it's really a pretty simple concept. Brent and I are going to chat about this. I didn't tell him we're going to, but I always like throwing stuff at him just for fun. But he's so good that he always is really on top of it, and I appreciate that with you.
It's the coffee.
But here's the issue. If you're out there renting, and we just saw the study in one of the local papers in Orange County, average rent is $1,882 a month. That's Orange County. That may not be somebody's forever home. So if you don't have the money to buy your forever home right now, why not find something that's comparable to what you're renting and get in the game. And then maybe 2 years or 3 years, when you save a little money for that 2 or 3 years, and you collect the appreciation on that first-time home buyer's property, you can get in the game and buy your forever home or your next step. What do you think, Brent?
Well, I think that's exactly what my wife and I did in 1997 when we deliberately bought our first detached home 2 years into our marriage that was 78 miles from where we'd been so we could afford it. And then 15 months later, flipped it and then flipped and ended up where we wanted to be.
We let the homes. One of our prior broadcasts, and I don't remember what it was, I'm going to guess. You had mentioned that you and your wife have lived in something like 20 properties?
We've been in 20 purchase and resale residential transactions, lived in all but about 3 of them.
Wow.
So it's been fun. But we've just celebrated the 11-year mark in the same home this weekend. So
which is very, very interesting when you say that, because if you did say you've lived in you've had 20 that you've lived in since 97?
Yeah, purchase and sale. So if you purchase a property and move into it and then sell it, that's 2 of them. So about 10.
Okay, and
it's a lot.
So that would be but that would have been though from 97 through about the 11. My math going backwards.
Yeah,
from 97 to
years.
2005 though.
Yeah.
You were moving every 6 months.
We were moving a lot. Yeah, our son Zach, before his 4th birthday, had lived in 5 different homes.
Holy cow!
It's crazy.
But the bottom line there is you can take that equity and the combination appreciation and the money that you're forced savings and move that from property to property so that you can really now be in a home that apparently, at least for the last 11 years, has been something that's been where you've wanted to be longer term.
Yep. And what I didn't mention is that several of these homes were 1031 exchanges. So there's a great internal revenue code where you can trade like for like property and not avoid tax but defer it.
Which is an important issue because when you're buying, and we don't want to get too far into the weeds on 1031 exchanges, but you cannot move that many times without having tax issues. And the way to avoid those tax issues legally is by using this code 1031. And you got to have a great real estate professional, because if you don't know that and you just say, well, I'm moving my personal residence, you're going to get a notice when somebody does your taxes that, hey, you know something, you got a problem here. That's really not a personal residence, it's now an investment property.
Right, and I've got a great CPA that I refer my clients to, because if we give any tax advice at all, we put our license in jeopardy.
And that's exactly it. I mean, we can both, what Brent and I will both do from a tax standpoint is we will provide questions. And those questions are the questions you want to go to a tax professional. Right? Because it's a belief system. And I'm a big believer, if you were at these sessions at Chapman over the weekend, you heard me say this over and over again. Even when I went to Chapman back in the 80s, the issue is you learn questions more than you learn answers. I want you to understand that if you've got a real estate transaction, hiring a great agent like Brent does not cost anything. If just the one comment right there of saying to somebody, you know something, we need to look into a 1031, could be, the tax consequences could be more than commissions for life with that client. Right?
Yeah.
So those are and so that's why I say it doesn't cost it. Yeah, he's got to feed his family, and he gets paid. He should, but it's because he's giving great advice, and you're paying for experience.
And I want to feed my family that baked Alaska. It just sounds wonderful.
Exactly. And you couldn't have done this fancy case study that you did if you didn't have all these things going, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
You're so funny with this case study talk, but
I love it.
It was a lot of fun.
Because I can't wait to hear the results of this. It was so much. It sounded like a lot of interest. So we should talk. Well, we're almost at the break, but we should talk a little bit about. Is there any available properties in San Diego? I know Orange County's pretty tight.
Yeah, Orange County's tight. Riverside's tight. San Diego's tight. A good market, most people say between 10 and 15,000 active properties for sale. What the actual delineation is between detached and condos and townhomes, I'm not quite sure. But I looked at the detached inventory on the way in. 3,845 homes. That is
3,845 homes for sale.
Right, in the whole county. That's really low.
Very low. Yeah, especially when you think about I have to imagine that there's going to somewhere. I think Orange County has about 11,000 sales every month. San Diego's probably going to be 7,000. So when you look at 7,500, 38, you've got less than 2 months supply of inventory. Right? Nationally, we're at 3.9 months supply. How do you find a new house? Now that you realize you've got equity in your existing property, how do you find that new house? We're going to chat with Brent when we come back about that exact issue. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. You can reach me anytime. Call that off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. On Twitter, @Ron Siegel. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Are you purchasing or own a luxury home? If you're like so many others, your home is your largest asset and the mortgage is your largest debt. The Siegel lending team has some amazing financing opportunities right now. Jumbo loans up to $2 million, 30-year rates below 4%, 15-year rates near 3.5%, and if you can believe it, 7-year interest-only hybrids in low 3s. The Siegel lending team has all the options for your jumbo or second home loan requirements. Take advantage of them while you can. To learn more about all the other financing products available from the Siegel lending team, call 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Again, call 1-800-306-1990. Rates subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender.
Southern California attorneys have over 15,000 real estate agents to call in Orange County for their personal and professional needs. Why do they overwhelmingly call Melinda Johnson? Simple. It's the Melinda Johnson trifecta. Melinda is an attorney, real estate broker, and realtor. Does your family deserve the same professional services California lawyers demand? Call Melinda Johnson at 714-863-5485. That's 714-863-5485. Or on the web at freedomfirstproperties.com. Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel lending team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel lending team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rates subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037 and DRE number 018694552.
37% of American homeowners believe they have over 20% equity in their homes. Fannie Mae tells us 69% of American homeowners have over 20% equity in their homes. Fully 1 in 3 American homeowners are not informed about the amount of equity they have in their homes. Are you one of them? How might this be holding you back from achieving your goals? Text RSR CMA to 79564 to get a property valuation from one of the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Again, to know how much your home is really worth, simply text RSR CMA to 79564.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio. Or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Word on Wealth segment today being brought to you by your household board of directors. That would be the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio, realtors, mortgage professionals, tax people, CPAs, financial planners, all of them. Just text ATP 79564. They will have some solutions for you. That is the question. Now, just a couple of things. I want to do this quickly because I want to get to chatting with Brent Humpherys today. He's got some great information for us. Don't pay for these 6 things. just a little bit of fun here. Number 1, 6 things you can get for free, don't pay for it. Wi-Fi outside of the home, don't pay for it. Books, many instances, there still is something called a public library. Water, gotta love this one. What a ruse that Coke and Pepsi have done with this one, right? We all like to have water bottles. Other than in Flint, Michigan, can't you just get water out of the tap? Don't do that in Flint, Michigan.
Nice job.
Your credit report and credit score. You can get a free copy of that. News, I love this. One of my local newspapers, they believe the newspaper's worth $1 a day, $360 a year, for information that is always, always, always old. Unbelievable. And banking fees. Go to the smaller banks. You can probably get more information from or free services from smaller banks than you can the big banks, just because there's still the relationship people. That is the Word on Wealth segment, brought to you by the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. So Brent, let's chat here, because you just shared with us that there's roughly, neither one of us are statisticians by trade, right? I mean, well, maybe you more than me, because I saw you were writing a computer program or something over
Oh, gosh, yeah. Have some fun.
Two months worth of supply, a little less than 2 months supply of inventory of homes for sale. San Diego, probably, I didn't look at the numbers, probably same thing in Orange County, Riverside, San Bernardino, probably. It's a tight market out there, tough to find houses.
Right.
Mortgage prices are good. People now have equity so they can move up. Mm-hmm. When a client comes to you, and I know you mentioned you've got clients, maybe are they in town now from the Bay Area?
They just left, but I'm going to meet.
So they come down here, they want to see properties. What are you showing them? How do you find something to show them?
Good. Well, you show them just about everything that's on the market, which no longer takes very long because there's not a whole lot on. But when you come across the property that they really want, you got to take extra care to make sure that you wow and impress and inspire the listing agent. Because if there are 10 properties to see, and usually there are 60 to 70, you got to stand out. And so some of that begins with just actually picking up the phone, which is a good segue into the case study. Pick up the phone and call the agent. Say, I know you're busy, I'm busy too, but I want to make a personal connection. I know that in a market of low inventory, it's a beauty contest. Let me tell you, I've got references of other agents who have worked with me. It'll be a positive experience. We're playing to win. What does the seller authorize you to convey in terms of sweet points? We don't want to just win on price. We want to win on terms. Money's one thing, and every seller is concerned. But what's your client's situation? Are they moving? Are they having a home that's built? Do they need to rent back up to 59 days and still have owner-occupied financing? Are there certain personal possessions in the home that we shouldn't ask for so we don't tick them off? What's important to you? And when you ask those questions and you get answers, automatically you're way ahead of the pack, because you're not just sending in an offer and saying, did you get it, confirm receipt. You're trying to have them spoon feed you what's necessary.
So you think agents really want to work with other people that they have a relationship with?
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, because, in this day and age, it's amazing because so many people are into the text and email environment, right? And they forget about pick up the darn phone. Yeah. Right? Those watching us on RonSiegelRadio.tv, pick up the darn phone. Right? I mean,
success begins with the word hello.
Right. And that alone can make you stand out, because if you've got a multiple bidding situation, and the other agents don't know whether there's multiple bids coming in until they start getting them.
Right. Or until they ask the listing office, is there anybody else at the table that we're competing with?
Right. And
perfect question to ask.
And there's some agents, I know that there's some agents out there that don't want to give out any information, right, from the listing side.
Yeah, but there are certain questions you can ask that they will answer, because it increases the leverage on the seller's column.
And see, there it is, that's experience, right? Because the whole idea is, I promise you, there is not one real estate professional out there that wants to have a home listed. They want to have it sold.
Yep.
And really, I believe, and I'll just throw this out at you, Brent. Did you get into real estate to be a tour guide or help families find places to live for their family?
Help families find a place for their family.
Right.
So I'm up 2 now. I missed the jail comment, right?
Yeah, but see, that's my point there, is that you're not out there wanting to be a tour guide taking somebody all over northern San Diego or Orange County or wherever it might be to see homes. That's part of what you do to find the right property.
Right. Well, and at the risk of being argumentative, I do love being a tour guide, and I love having people fly down and want to see San Diego and consider whether they're going to move or not. So I'm not going for the sale, but if they say we're in, we want to do this, then it's a whole different ballgame. I've got to win for them and get them a property.
But the part about being the tour guide, that part is really about, you're not doing that because you want to be a tour guide. You're doing that because you want to develop a relationship with that person.
Absolutely.
Because you're not the type of person, I know you well enough, you're not the type of person that's looking for a transaction.
Right.
You're looking for a long-term relationship with a family to be there if they need a new house, if they need something changed on this house, if they need to find a painter, if they need to find a school. And you can't do that just by a text message that says, I like 123 Main Street.
Correct.
Right? I mean,
you're right.
So what else do you have to do? I mean, when there's no inventory out there, is there a trick to the trade? I mean,
there are several tricks. Yeah.
Okay, so those are the things that you're really wanting to do as far as to find. Maybe there's nothing available on the street that Mrs. Jones wants.
Mm-hmm. I think I've worked with Mrs. Jones.
Exactly, I think you did too, and Mr. Jones.
Yeah. So this is one of those times where you're live. You want to provide good information on air, but you don't want to give away too much. Colonel Sanders' secret, whatever it was.
Right.
But some of it, I just think it's common sense. If there's no inventory and your client has a particular neighborhood they want to be in, why not go to the MLS and instead of clicking on active, pending, and contingent, click on expired, canceled, and withdrawn, and look at the people that have tried to sell in the last 6 months and came off the market, and then contact them. Or contact their agent and say, hey, look, I see 123 Main was on in December. It's February 1. My clients are back. Kind of sort of fits the bill.
And maybe they want to sell, maybe they don't want to sell.
Correct, but you won't know if you don't ask.
Exactly. So there are, and again, that part right there then.
It's really easy.
That requires an agent, maybe a full-time agent, that's willing to go out and really work. Mm-hmm. There is a difference because there are some agents that believe the only source for inventory is the MLS.
Yeah, that's false.
Right.
Here's another one too. If you've got a particular area that your client wants, you can easily sort and run a little database. Here I go with the geekiness, but a little database sort and figuring out who the active players are in that community. And when you contact them and say, what have you got coming up? You're probably going to be the first person to hear about it before it even hits the MLS.
Because that goes back to what we said just a little bit ago, that most agents don't want to have a property listed. They want to have it sold.
Yep.
They look like a hero with their client if they can say, something, I know that you've been thinking about selling. I just had Brent call me, and he's got a client looking for this property. If you want to list it, I'll call him, and we might have this done before the sign goes up. Mm-hmm. And really happens with people.
Yep.
And again, it goes back to the same thing that we were talking about before, relationships. Mm-hmm. Right? When you've been doing it long enough, you've got the relationships with people to know that, they understand that if Brent calls, there's a legitimate reason.
Yeah, I don't call to mess around. Let's get down to business.
Yeah,
brass tacks.
There are some times to mess around, and that's with a good bottle of wine or something like that. But
there you go.
At business,
Case study.
But there's other times, right?
Mm-hmm. Speaking of relationships, I on the way in this morning, I appreciate you calling last night and asking me to come in.
See, these are not prepared things, folks.
7:33, the text came.
Yeah.
One said, would you like to come in? So it was fun. I had
Absolutely.
to rearrange a few things. I appreciate my clients allowing me to change a couple of meetings this morning to come in. But, on the way in, I spoke with Harrison Peebles and Michelle Lee, two great agents in Raleigh, North Carolina. And, they were telling me that inventory is really tight there, typically 6 months supply. And they've got 2 months supply right now. And it's projected Raleigh and the Wake County and the Triangle area. I got to figure out what the triangle is, right?
I know what a triangle is.
Google that exactly. Yeah.
I don't know what it is there, but...
Yeah, and that area is projected to double in the next 10 to 15 years. Harrison was, actually, he sent me a text during our commercial break that, if necessary, he'll go and door knock.
Interesting.
So if the buyer's got something they want and there's nothing available, he'll knock on doors. I door knocked a few times successfully, but it's you know what they say about rejection.
Right.
And this is a family show, so. But it's not fun, you know, when you hear the radio going and you ring the doorbell and the radio suddenly goes off, so you know someone's home and they don't open up.
That sounds like
you feel their eyes on you through the peephole. You know, what are you supposed to look up? You look straight. You look down.
I'm used to that, though. People look at me and they go, who is that guy again? It's just,
classic.
Just fun stuff. But that makes sense. Okay, so it's interesting. So all parts of the country, people are finding, and ironically enough, I mean, North Carolina, we just saw what the storms were there. So,
yeah.
You know, and our heart goes out to the folks out there in North Carolina. There's a lot going on there. We're going to chat more about finding that diamond in the rough. Maybe there's needle in a haystack is a better term. And on the case study, when we come back, you're listening to Ron Siegel Radio discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. You can reach us anytime. The off-air number, it's 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Connect with us, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter, @Ron Siegel. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area-trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Do you have a loved one who wants to stay in their home, but you have health concerns about it? The Preferred Care team understands the challenges of caring for your loved ones. Their goal is to keep seniors as independent as possible while maintaining their health, safety, and overall well-being. Whether you need just a few hours a week or 24-hour care, Preferred Care caregivers are trained to meet your needs. Call Preferred Care at 714-696-9150. That's 714-696-9150. Or visit preferredcare.com.
Attention homeowner 62 and older. Do you worry if you can afford to keep your home? Are you concerned about paying all your monthly expenses? Or do you simply wish you could live a better retirement? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you may qualify for a program that can help. It's called FHA Reverse Mortgage. It's insured by the federal government. You'll receive tax-free money. You aren't required to make any monthly mortgage payments, and you still own your home. Siegel Lending Team is a local leader in FHA reverse mortgages. Call free to get your free reverse mortgage guide, free custom quote. And when you call now, you can get all your questions answered by local experts. There is no monthly mortgage payment and tax-free money you can use for healthcare expenses, home improvements, or just live a better retirement with peace of mind. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-1990 to get your free reverse mortgage guide and quote. You'll also find them on the web at SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL lendingteam.com. Call 800-306-1990 now.
Are you currently renting a home? Do you like paying someone else's mortgage payment? Why not explore the options to purchase your own home? Can you imagine a 30-year fixed-rate loan below 4.25% APR? This means with $10,500, you can purchase a $295,000 home and have a principal and interest payment of about $1,400 per month. What are you paying in rent? Does your family deserve the opportunity to take advantage of the current market? To learn more about these exciting opportunities, the Siegel Lending Team is standing by to speak with you. Call now, 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Or 1-800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender. Not endorsed or sponsored by any government agency.
Save during the New Year clearance sale at Kohl's Fine Flooring with the lowest prices of the year on in-stock quality flooring ready for immediate installation. Save 30 to 60% plus special 12-month financing.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message. And as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio. Or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Spendy trends to avoid is the subject of the Your Credit Matters segment today. Brought to you by CreditSanitizer.com. You have a credit report, and it is wrong. Credit Sanitizer has the solutions for you. Fun stuff that trendy, easy for me to say. Boy, I got a great tongue here today. Spendy trends to avoid. Isn't that a fun one, Brent?
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad that was you that had to say it.
Exactly. In-app purchases. One of the big things you got to always be careful of when you're looking at things that you're spending money on is impulse buys. Very, very simple to just spend a little extra money. Here's one that's a fun one. Keurig coffee. Trendy, but think about this. What does it cost you to make a pot of coffee versus, I think most of those little pod things are about 70 cents a cup. You can use the reusable filter if you just want the single serving. Meal and snack subscription services. Now, I've beaten anorexia. Don't just get a meal and snack subscription. Clothing and accessory rental services. Multiple streaming services. Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime. I think they all cover about the same thing. I don't have any of them, so I have Amazon Prime, I guess. But I don't know what that is. Just why is that a streaming? Just brings me stuff to my house. I don't know.
I love Amazon Prime.
Yeah, you're a big user of that one. That's the Your Credit Matters segment, again, brought to you by CreditSanitizer.com. Let's have some fun with our friend Brent Humpherys here this morning. So, Brent, let's talk about this case study. What did you do, and what did you learn?
Well, on December 23rd, I was driving up to Riverside County to meet a client, and the phone was buzzing and beeping and chirping and chiming and dancing in my center console. I do not look at my phone while I'm driving. But I reached a point where I realized, there are an awful lot of people that need me. And I'm glad about that. But I thought, could I provide really good service without a smartphone and actually ditch my beloved Note 5, because I just updated because 4 wasn't good enough, apparently. I update all the time. Could I actually provide great service to my clients without a smartphone?
Okay, and what did you learn?
Now
that you're smarter because you did this.
Yeah, so I actually made it 30 days to the minute without using a smartphone.
What'd you use? Telegraph?
I went to Walmart and spent $9.88 on a little flip phone. And let me tell you, I went through all the phases, right? I didn't study psychology like my wife did, but I think it was, there's anger and there's withdrawal and there's acceptance and then there's adjustment. And let me tell you, the first 2 hours when I was on a flip phone, I was excited, like, wow, look at this. I have done this. I have survived. I can do this.
For 2 hours?
Yeah.
Okay.
And midday, I seriously got angry with myself. Really angry. I'm like, no, there's no way I've done this. How am I going to do this? And I think the anger kicked in when I realized the full extent of not having a smartphone. That if somebody texted me, you actually have to press the appropriate key the right number of times to get the letter you want. And then it was like several minutes trying to find an exclamation mark. And I'm like, this is absurd. What have I done? But then over the next few days, I began to realize that
there is life without phone.
There is. I can't do mobile banking. I can't check. I can't turn on and off the air conditioning or the heater in my home. I can leave, and I have all these things that I do on my phone that I could no longer do. And it got frustrating. But one of the biggest takeaways for me was that I slept really well every night. And there's something about that LCD screen or LED screen where your retina gets the light and your body says,
you're supposed to turn it over, Brent.
Yeah. But imagine not having a phone. When I walked upstairs each night to go to bed, that was it. I had no connection with the outside world, and I slept like a baby. What I missed the most was being able to capture moments with my clients, handing over keys or, just funny things you see when you're showing property, strange.
So you didn't carry a Polaroid around with you?
I did not, no. I did have a camera, a digital, a DSLR in my trunk that I did break out a couple of times.
You're a camera guy. And people that don't know you like I do or that don't follow you on social media, it's great to follow on social media, Brent Humpherys on social media, is you're constantly taking pictures, capturing the moment, snarky comments here and there, just a pun or two.
Yeah, puns are fun.
Right, so that is part
I miss that a lot.
It's part of who you are.
Yeah.
So But you do also sometimes. I mean, I remember the first time you came on the radio broadcast, you had one of the big a big camera bag that you brought with you.
Oh yeah, and I left it.
Well, and you left. That's true. I didn't even think about that part. But no, you do. So did you have to go back to that?
I did. I had to go back to a big digital camera in a camera case, and then when I took a picture, I would have to actually eject the media chip and put it into a laptop, browse to it, and then upload it.
Okay, so you didn't have to go to Kodak film.
No.
Or 35 millimeter.
I didn't go to film.
Didn't go that far.
No, but even opening lock boxes. I mean, you forget just how much you do from a smartphone, and so I had to actually, have that little credit card that was activated every 48 to 72 hours, and make sure it's up to date. The smartphone was just constant. You just enter your PIN, and there's your key. But with a card, you got to actually put it in a card reader and update it, and it was crazy. But I think that so while I was on a flip phone, and virtually was not able to text from that phone, I managed to put 3 homes in escrow and close 4. And I've spoken with each of my clients, and the service was still very, very strong. It wasn't as efficient. So if I'm out and about, I basically disconnected for an hour or two. And
ironically enough, but now how did that affect your car? Because I know that you do a lot of texting, and not while you're driving.
That's true. I do not.
But I know that you've got a big screen in your car that you're able to do mobile communications.
Sure.
Were you able to still do that?
I was able. Yeah. Okay. So now that does definitely. That's probably what was my saving grace. So I drive a Tesla with a 17-inch infotainment browser, which is signed into my office. So yes, I was able to do that, but I wasn't able to sign documents on the go. Just all kinds of things. I was handicapped.
Wow.
But when clients would text me with a simple question like, what do I need to, or when do I need to bring in my money to close? That's a very common question.
Sure.
Rather than text back, typically 3 days before close, escrow will ping you and let you know what the amount is. I would actually pick up the phone and I'd call the person, and we'd have a 10 or 15-minute chat, and I'd hear about other things that were on their mind. I mean, Chris Mioka and his wife Robin, I sold them a home in Temecula, and he was the one I was referring to. I mean, he would text me a simple question, and I was able to call and interact for several minutes about all kinds of things and just visit. So I think it was more personal.
From a salesperson, I don't use that term derogatorily because there's a lot of people that have sales relationships in many industries. Sometimes we get to the point of saying, it's more efficient just to send a text message or an email message. And that's the reason I call this a case study, is it goes back to a prior day in our world when you really did just pick up the phone and talk to somebody and say hello and how are you and how's the family. Sure. And it was the 2-second text became a 10-minute phone call. But I was
happy about it, yeah.
But I wonder what the long-term relationship benefit will be.
Well, hopefully good. If Chris, if you're listening, I really enjoyed your family and appreciate your plug on Zillow and Truly and all, and let's do more together.
Right. Okay. So
it's good to talk to people.
It is. It is a lot of fun, and I guess the bottom line of why I bring this up and why we're spending 5 or 6 minutes talking about this is that in our society, we've tend to get very impersonal with texting and emailing and. I mean, when you think about it, you can Facebook message, text message, email, Instagram message, Snapchat. I just heard of Tumblr. I knew that was for blogging. I didn't realize that's another social media site. The million ways to communicate without ever saying hello.
Yeah. Well, just quickly, if I could tie this into what we were talking about earlier in terms of how to win in a market. Several years ago, I made a mistake. I mean, I make mistakes all the time, but there was a mistake I made that I learned the hard way, and it was that a particular client wanted to communicate a certain way. They never told me, so there's partial blame.
Culpability on both sides.
Culpability is better than blame, right? But I probably should have asked, and now and ever since, I will ask people, are you more phone heavy? Are you more into texting? Are you more into email? How do you like to communicate? And when I'm making an offer on a property, particularly when there are multiple offers, I ask I say, look, this is the dating period, but I'm going to be the same nice face and kind and as warm as I can be when we're working together consistently for 30 days. How is it that you like updates on a transaction? Or do you want a bunch of documents together? Do you want me to send them when I get them? And when you let someone know that you're interested in them and how they want to do business, it certainly helps your client get that offer accepted.
And it makes them happier, and that's why I submit that might be part of the reason that you get so many great reviews and your clients love you so much, is because it is a unique experience. We're talking about big money, right? When you're talking about somebody's house, somebody's mortgage, somebody's family, those are serious, serious issues. And those people that are in the industry, those people that do this as full-time, like yourself, that take it real serious, you're a trusted part of somebody's family. You're not there just one time and one and done. I hate that terminology because there are so many people that are.
Yeah.
But it's not a one-night stand.
No, it's
right?
not.
And if you want to meet Brent, just give me a call at 800-306-1990. He is one of the great guys in this industry. Why we like really doing this, and it's fun that I can call him at 7:30 at night and say, hey, you want to come in the morning? We haven't prepared anything. But we do ask you to set that first radio preset button to come back here every day to join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A very big thanks to Steve, who's engineering us today. And, of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you want to meet any of our guests or call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money, help a lot of people, have a lot of fun, have a great day. We will talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.
Cheers.
XAPA 1700 AM, Tecate, Baja California.
You're listening to ESPN Radio 1700.